What do you do? What the hell is happening? Hey, Nick Digilio, that's me. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. Subscribe right now. Daily videos posted all the time. Check out my Patreon page. Maybe you're looking at this on the Patreon page. If you are and you're not a patron, please become one. Pick a tier, like $3, $9, $25 a month. And you can donate, and it helps me keep the videos going, helps me keep the content going. And if you do donate, you get exclusive videos that non-patrons don't have access to. And most of those videos are fun, and I'm going to tell the story, and I have been telling the story. There are videos on there now, if you donate, you can get access to, telling the true story of what really happened behind the scenes at WGN. Lots of bullshit online and social media about me and about what happened. I set the record straight. But you got to be a patron to do it, so go to patreon.com/NickDShow. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Donate today. My podcast launches today. It's early in the morning right now. It's around 8 o'clock, close to 8 o'clock on Tuesday, January 18th. And I believe in about an hour, my first podcast episode, the Nick D Podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network, will debut. Check out RadioMisfits.com and all the platforms where you can get your podcast. Subscribe today, and it's out today. First episode, Sven Gulli, Rich Coase, my first guest. All right, that's an L train. If you've been watching these videos, you know that I live on a main street near an L, and you hear that. So that's just me. That's my life. On my podcast on Friday, my buddy Steve Procopi and my buddy Eric Childress, movie reviewers who used to join me on my WGN show, are going to rejoin me as regular guests on my podcast. And the first time that they're going to be on, this Friday, we will be doing a summation of the best and the worst movies of 2021. Interesting year. Lots of great stuff came out. Some movies that I really loved and some movies that I really hated. And so we'll talk all about that. But there have been great acting performances in 2021 that we will touch on a little bit, and as we get closer to Oscars and Oscar nominations and all that stuff. But there were a couple of debut film performances this year that last year, I should say, 2021, that were fucking stunning, like really amazing. And let me start with the two performances in Licorice Pizza, the two leads in Licorice Pizza. Cooper Hoffman, who is Philip Seymour Hoffman, the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, making his acting debut in Licorice Pizza as sort of the male lead, the young kid who kind of falls in love with an older girl. And he's great in it. It's a great performance. First time out of the gate, and he's terrific. But his co-star in that movie is Alana Haim from the rock group Haim. She and her two sisters are in this rock group, and Paul Thomas Anderson, who wrote and directed Licorice Pizza, has directed several videos for her band, Haim. And so he wrote this part for her, and she is unbelievable in Licorice Pizza as the female lead, the 25-year-old girl who is trying to make it in the world and have some kind of career. And she starts this friendship with this 16-year-old kid, where they kind of become business partners for all of these money-making schemes that this kid has. And there is a bond that they have as a friendship, but there's also like a romantic thing underneath it. And the movie is about, what happens to these two people in their lives and how they will always be connected, whether it's just through friendship, through business association, or possibly through a romantic connection. And it's a beautiful film, one of the very, very, very best movies of 2021. It's Paul Thomas Anderson, so that means it's fucking great, and that goes without saying. But Alana Haim's performance is unbelievable in it. Like, it is one of the best. I personally think it's one of the best and most stunning acting debuts in movie history. She's that good in it. She immediately commands the screen. The moment she walks on to the screen, it lights up, and she owns it. She is funny and acerbic and sweet and sad. She conveys so much emotion just with this beautiful face that she has. It's a great part. It's a very well written part, and she soars in it. It is truly one of the best film debuts I've ever seen. Another incredible film debut would be from Agathe Roussel. Agathe Roussel, who's this French actress who stars in the film Titane. You can call it Titane, you can call it Titane. It's this insane sci-fi, I guess some people call it horror movie, in which she plays a woman who has a child, has a car accident, and has a titanium plate put in her head, that affects the way she thinks. She becomes like a serial killer, and then the movie flashes forward to where she's an adult and she's like an exotic dancer and a model and a stripper, and she's obsessed with cars. It's got this titanium plate in her head. She has sex. I don't want to get into why this happens. She has sex with a car, becomes pregnant with this half machine, half human, and is a serial killer. So she has to hide out. Change her identity as a young, and takes on the identity of this presumed dead young boy, not young boy, but a boy, and becomes friends with this boy's father, who is a fire chief at a fire station, and they begin this weird relationship. It's an insane movie. One of my very favorite movies of the year, like Licorice Pizza. It's way up there on my list of the best movies. But Agathe Roussel in this movie, she's the female lead in it. It's an insanely great performance. I actually think she's better. It's an actually more stunning and more incredible film debut than Alana Haim in Licorice Pizza. Agathe Roussel in Titane it's incredible. It is an incredible, transformative performance. She goes 100%, dives into the deep end in not only emotion, and not only the levels of what she has to go through in the film, but physically. It's one of the most demanding, physical, and exhausting performances I've ever seen. It is truly one of the best. I mean, it's one of my favorite performances of the year, easily one of the best performances. She won't get recognized by the Academy, even though it is clearly one of the 2 or 3 best performances by a woman in any movie this year. She won't, because the movie's too crazy. It's insane. It's a movie that has like the sort of the body terror that David Cronenberg kind of has, but this is a movie that would make David Cronenberg blush. That's how fucking crazy this movie is. Titane, or Titane, if you want to call it. It is this crazy movie that it's not an awards kind of movie, even though her performance is better than 95% of any acting performances last year. She won't get any recognition, but it's one of the best acting debuts I've ever seen in my life. Like, transformative and insane. And it's like, when it was over, I was like, wow, because this is a foreign film, so I thought maybe I had never seen her in a movie before, and she was making movies in Germany or France or anything like. No, this was her first movie. It's her first fucking movie. She's like a model, never acted before. She auditioned like 5 times for it and got it. But it's an incredible performance. Agathe Roussel is her name. Maybe one of the greatest debut performances of all time. So that got me to thinking about great film debuts. Incredible film debut performances by actors and actresses. And it's kind of amazing. I've got this list here of first time, the very first performances in film by actors and actresses. And it's pretty amazing, and especially amazing because of what these actors and actresses would go on to do. So they had these great, acting debuts, and most of them went on to have like incredible careers. And I'm hoping that Agathe Roussel and Alana Haim actually go on to bigger and better things, and I'm certain they will. Absolutely certain. But let's go and look at some of the great debuts. Natalie Portman in The Professional, a movie that I fucking hate. I hate that movie. That movie sucks. Luc Besson sucks. He's a terrible filmmaker. I hate almost all of his movies. God, The Fifth Element. Boom! Anyway, Luc Besson blows. He's terrible. And I hate The Professional. I fucking hate that movie. The most embarrassing performance that Gary Oldman has ever given. And Gary Oldman's given some embarrassing performance, but the whole everyone, Portman, like it's a fucking ridiculous movie and a ridiculous performance. About a hitman who makes a connection, with this neighbor, this little girl who lives down the hallway from him, whose parents are killed, and they become friends, and he kind of trains her to be an assassin. People love this fucking movie, and I don't understand it. Leon is the actual title, Leon the Professional, with Jean Reno. It's a piece of shit. It's crap. But Natalie Portman made her debut in it, and I think she was like 9 or 10. In this movie, she's great. It's a good, despite the fact that it is a piece of shit movie. She's great in it. And when I walked out of the movie, I was like, I don't know who that little girl is, but she's a magnificent. So Natalie Portman, and obviously she went on to an amazing career, several incredible performances, won an Oscar, deservedly so, for The Great Black Swan. But yeah, her film debut was in The Professional. And then we've got Kate Winslet in Heavenly Creatures. Kate Winslet, obviously gone on to win Oscars and, have an incredible career. Her first movie was Peter Jackson's sort of insane film, beautiful, crazy movie called Heavenly Creatures, about a real pair of killers, teenage girls. And Kate Winslet made her film debut in that movie, and it's still one of her best performances. And Kate Winslet would go on to do a lot of great things. Frances McDormand's first movie was Blood Simple. That's where she met her now husband Joel Coen. The first movie that the Coen brothers made. Phenomenal movie. Again, if you want to talk about debuts, that was the directorial debut of Joel Coen. And one of the most auspicious and impressive directorial debuts of all time. Obviously an incredible movie. Coen brothers knocking it out of the park. Joel Coen directing it, and it's Frances McDormand's first movie. Film noir, bloody, awesome, great movie. And Frances McDormand would obviously go on to more greatness. I do have to say, though, wasn't crazy about her in The Tragedy of Macbeth. Sorry. And I didn't think that movie was great. I'm sorry, I didn't. People are, creaming their jeans over it. It's not that good. Denzel's good in it. I thought there were too many. Joel Coen condensed it too much. And there were cuts that I didn't like. I don't know. Overall, I thought good, not great. There were great moments in it. Stephen Root steals the whole goddamn movie. The Tragedy of Macbeth. Stephen Root steals the whole thing. But I wasn't crazy about Frances McDormand as Lady M. Didn't think she was that good. I know it's, can't say anything bad about Frances McDormand. You're an asshole if you say anything bad about Frances McDormand. She proved she's a human in the Scottish play, in the latest version of the Scottish play. But she's amazing in Blood Simple, and it was an incredible film debut. And obviously Frances McDormand has gone on, win a couple of Oscars and be a wonderful weirdo. And, and her and Joel Coen still working together. They've got, the Tragedy of the Scottish play out there, and it's not great. Let's see. Warren Beatty in Splendor in the Grass. Yeah, Splendor in the Grass. He makes his debut. That was when Warren Beatty was being, groomed as the pretty boy. Right around that time, when you had all these guys who were like your James Deans, your Sal Minios. It was that kind of thing, and that's what he was being groomed for. And he started out that way, just being the handsome guy in movies, the pretty boy. And then once he, started to make his talent known, I love Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty's one of my favorite humans on the planet. I think he's one of the best filmmakers alive. I think he's directed some of the best movies ever. And even when he doesn't direct a movie, he's kind of in charge. And he made it pretty early on. He made it very clear that he wanted to do films that were important, that were artistic, and they were political. Outspoken guy. I love Warren Beatty. I fucking love him. Reds is one of the greatest movies ever made. I think he's a terrific actor and an even more impressive director. I think he's a fucking great filmmaker, a great director, and a really terrific actor. And like I said, when he's not directing, he's still kind of in charge and puts his stamp on all the movies that he makes. So obviously a great career, would continue. Splendor in the Grass, Warren Beatty. What else do we got? Glenn Close, World According to Garp. Again, like all of these people that I've mentioned so far, they would all go on to critical acclaim and box office success, yes, but became critical darlings and would win all kinds of awards. Glenn Close never won an Oscar, which is amazing to me. She's been nominated, I think, 6 or 7 times. She's never won an Oscar, Glenn Close. I think she's due, for Christ's sake. In World According to Garp, which is, I love that movie, a great adaptation of a great book. One of the few movies that I can stomach Robin Williams in. John Lithgow, incredible in it. I love that movie. I love the George Roy Hill directed it, and it was Glenn Close's first. She plays Garp's mother, and it was her first movie. And it was hard. It's hard to believe that you go back and you watch it and go, oh my God, she never made a movie before Garp. And what's the connecting element, the common element among all these performances that I'm mentioning, are that all of these people seemed so assured in their first movies. It's like you can't believe that this is their first. You can't believe that Glenn Close was never in a movie before Garp. She's so fucking good in it, and that's the case of all these things. Eddie Murphy, 48 Hours, one of the greatest film debuts of all time, one of the best film debuts of all time. He was a stand-up comedian. He was a kid when he made this fucking movie. He was in his 20s when he made it. He was a stand-up comedian. An incredibly young new cast member to SNL, and he became a star on SNL, and a comedy star. And then his film debut was Walter Hill's brilliant action movie, 48 Hours. He co-starred with the great Nick Nolte. And again, obviously, Eddie Murphy went on to incredible success, especially in the 80s and into the early 90s. People love his movies. One of the highest paid actors of all time, box office bonanza. And I remember watching 48 Hours. I went with my girlfriend at the time, and right after the scene where Reggie Hammond, his character, really busts up the hillbilly bar, like he goes in and fucks with the rednecks, pretends to be the cop, and hassles all the rednecks and tries to get information from them in the hillbilly bar. When that scene was over, when he said, there's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Reggie Hammond, y'all be cool, and he walks out, I remember leaning over to my girlfriend, obviously I was a fan of SNL and a fan of him already, and I leaned over to my girlfriend and I said, right after the whole hillbilly scene, I said, that guy is a star. We just saw a star. And that was true. It was like, the whole movie is great, but that scene, that's a star-making scene. Like, if you were to pick certain scenes out of these movies to go, well, that might be the scene where this person became a superstar, fucking A. The scene in the hillbilly bar, unbelievable. Okay. John Malkovich, Places in the Heart, the Sally Field farm drama. There were a lot of farm dramas in the mid-'80s, and a lot of farm dramas that made people win Academy Awards. Sally Field, You Like Me, You Really Like Me. And Malkovich, you gotta love it because he was out of Steppenwolf, Chicago guy. Made his film debut as the blind dude in Places in the Heart. Obviously went on, to become one of the most legendary character actors and actors of all time, getting Oscar nominations and stuff. And I think he was nominated for that right out of the gate. But John Malkovich, Places in the Heart. Alan Rickman in Die Hard. Can you fucking believe that that's his debut? A lot of people know this already. I don't think I'm breaking any news here. Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber in Die Hard. That was his first movie. That was Alan Rickman's first movie. Only debuting in a movie and creating one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. Yeah, Alan Rickman, taken from us too soon. So good, so great in everything. He could do anything. He could do romantic comedy. He could play the villain. He was the only good thing in that fucking Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner, shithead. He was great in that. But yeah, Alan Rickman, first movie, right out of the gate, Die Hard. Incredible. Anna Paquin, The Piano. She won an Academy Award for it, much like Tatum O'Neal won an Academy Award for Paper Moon. And that was her film debut as well, so you can put these two together. Anna Paquin, who went on to do a lot of great things, I guess found her best, biggest success outside of winning an Oscar for her first movie, but on True Blood, the vampire sex thing that was on HBO for a few years. Still working, still doing a lot of work, still terrific. But yeah, she's amazing in that movie, in The Piano, which is one of my favorite movies ever. Jane Campion, whose movie, The Power of the Dog this year, fantastic. But anyway, Anna Paquin, amazing in her film debut. Let's see, Barbra Streisand in Funny Girl. What can you say about that? Amazing film debut. She would go on to become, obviously, an icon, still is, not only in the world of music and singing, but as an actress and as a director. She would go on to direct movies that aren't very good, because she's not a good director. Sorry. I know I'm pissing off all the Barbra Streisand fans out there. She's not a good director. Not at all. In fact, she sucks as a director. But, she's a good actress, not a great actress. But she, boom, Funny Girl, and won the Oscar, I believe. Tied, I think, was it, with Katharine Hepburn. So, there you go. Brad Dourif, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Come on now. Incredible performance. Brad Dourif would go on to do many amazing things, become a great character actor, became the voice of Chucky in the Child's Play movies and in the TV series. I got to tell you, one of the biggest surprises in the entertainment world this year was how fucking good that Child's Play TV show is. How did that happen? I watched it on a lark. I was like, this is going to suck. Because, they've made 19 Child's Play movies and only, 2 of them are good. And I'm glad that Brad Dourif has got a check and he's iconic as the voice of Chucky and all that. But I was like, okay, I'll watch this stupid fucking TV show. Man, it was great. Legitimately great. This Child's Play, Sci-Fi Channel original TV series. How the hell was that good? And it was great. But anyway, Brad Dourif in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Billy Babbitt gets nominated for an Academy Award for it. Extraordinary performance, one of many in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And he would go on to do incredible stuff. True Blood, but I got to say, Wise Blood. But I got to say, his performance in Exorcist 3, one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Certainly one of the very best performances in horror film history. But in general, an amazing performance. And in a great movie. Exorcist 3 is a fucking great movie. Almost as good, just as good as the original Exorcist. But yeah, Brad Dourif, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Let's see, Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld in True Grit. I love Haley Steinfeld. I adore her. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. She's a really great, she's a great vocalist. She's fun. She does the Pitch Perfect movies. She's got a sort of a funky pop, career. And also, she's a terrific actress. She was great in True Grit. That was her film debut, the Joel Cohen, Ethan Coen movie with Jeff Bridges, obviously, the remake of the John Wayne movie. And that was her first movie. The Coen brothers discovered her. She was phenomenal in that. But let me just tell you, my favorite Haley Steinfeld movie and my favorite performance is Edge of 17. If you've not seen this movie, one of the absolute top best coming-of-age movies ever made. Edge of 17 from 2016, 2017, right around that time. And Haley Steinfeld is the lead in that. Woody Harrelson is in it. It is one of the best coming of age. It is one of the very best coming of age movies ever made, and she's fucking amazing in it. Haley Steinfeld. I love her. I loved her in Bumblebee, even. Goddamn Transformers movie. I liked her in that. She's on the Hawkeye TV series. I love Haley Steinfeld. I just adore her, and her film debut in True Grit, amazing. Let's see. Oh, Anya Taylor-Joy. What a career she's had just over the... How about that? Her blowing up over the past few years. Just incredible. I mean, with this goddamn chess show. What the fuck was the chess show called? I can't remember what the chess show is that everybody watched. Jesus Christ, I don't remember it. I know you're screaming. What the fuck was it called? The Queen's Gambit? Queen Gambit? Gambit with the Queen? I enjoy fucking chess. I don't know. I can't look it up right now because the thing that I use to look up things, I'm talking into. But anyway, she was in that Queen's Gambit, I think, chess series, and a whole bunch of other things, including she was in the very disappointing Edgar Wright movie, Last Night in Soho. But she's amazing in The Witch. Her first movie was The Witch, Anya Taylor-Joy, and she's become quite, and also fantastic on SNL. One of a great host on SNL. But yeah, her film debut was The Witch. Amazing. And then you've got Jason Schwartzman in Rushmore. He's gone on to prove that he's kind of like Jason Schwartzman in Rushmore all the time. Doesn't have a lot of range. Appears in a lot of Wes Anderson movies, so he can kind of... And by the way, he was in one of the worst movies of the year, French Dispatch, which was a fucking terrible movie. Easily the worst movie that Wes Anderson has ever made. But Jason Schwartzman is awesome in Rushmore, and Rushmore is great. A great movie, and it's a great debut. Let's see. And then I guess I got to talk about Orson Welles, right? Right? Orson Welles, an amazing acting debut. Oh, wait, you know what? I'll also write the movie, and I'll also direct it, and I'll also be under 30 when I act in my first movie and write my first movie and direct my first movie. Oh, and you know what? It's now considered one of the greatest movies ever made, perhaps the greatest film ever made. So right out of the gate, this crazy bastard Orson Welles not only does an incredible acting debut, but, you know, directs Citizen fucking Kane, and he's not 30 when he makes it. So anyway, those are some of the great debuts, and I wanted to save one for last here because my buddy Esmeralda Leon, who's now my partner and my pal on the Nick D podcast, she'll be on every episode, she loves Edward Norton, loves him, adores Edward Norton. It's one of her major crushes. Well, Edward Norton out of the gate, Primal Fear. Come on. That's his first movie. Edward Norton, film debut, Primal Fear. He's unbelievable in that movie. Richard Gere crime thing, big twist ending. He's amazing in that movie. He got an Oscar nomination. One of the best film debuts of all time. Primal Fear, great movie. And I remember seeing it the first time I saw it. I was like, I don't know who this guy is. This Edward Norton guy. I love the fact that he had the same name as Art Carney's character. You know, I wondered if this actor maybe had worked in the sewer before he starred in Primal Fear. But anyway, saving one of the best performances for last. Edward Norton made his film debut in Primal Fear and obviously gone on to even greater things than that. So, great performances out of the gate. That's what I was talking about. Great film performances. Alana Haim in Licorice Pizza and Agathe Roussel in Titan. The two best film debuts this year and of all time, especially Agathe Roussel in Titan. Ridiculous. So anyway, hey, nice film debuts there, and I hope you have a lovely day and check out my podcast. It posts today.